Hello everybody, I'm Michael. This is a 5-minute review for Nancy Drew number 12, The Secret of the Old Clock. I used to think this was one of my favorite games. I really like the setting of this game. The premise is that the game takes place in the year 1930. I think the game does a good job with this premise, makes a good use of it. So there's a lot of old-timey music and old-timey slang, especially with the character named Jane. She basically is the master at being in the year 1930. She's always making these references and using old-timey words, and she's a lot of fun. I like that. There's also a lot of puzzles based on the year 1930. So, like, that was the Great Depression, and so money's kind of a big deal. Nancy having to save money and not waste her money. There's a coin-operated phone on the porch. Other things. There's like a ham radio challenge. There's hobo sign language. Ham radios exist today, but they're totally different today. They're on the computer. They're not like actual radios. So I think the game does a good job with the 1930s setting. It makes me wish there was another Nancy Drew game along those lines. Say a game that takes place in the year 1960, something like that. I thought that would be cool. Now, the downside is that it's kind of a gimmick. If you don't like the 1930s stuff, you're probably not going to like the game, because that seems to be the main selling point, honestly. The other major selling point is like, oh my, this is a game. It's based off the first Nancy Drew book ever. So that would be this book, and it was written in 1930, hence the 1930 setting. The problem is the game has nothing to do with this book. If you're actually a book fan, no, don't be playing this game. It has nothing to do with the book. It's actually like these 4 books. The first 4 books, just sort of thrown together haphazardly, and that doesn't make for a good story, because we've got random elements from unrelated books put together. They don't combine well, and so what we get is a bunch of characters that don't interact with each other. That's the main problem. That's the main problem with the story. The characters are just too separated from each other. Jim Archer in town, he basically has nothing to do with anyone. Jane basically has nothing to do with Richard Topham, who lives next door, who has basically nothing to do with Emily. It's not like he ever goes and talks to her, or goes and talks to Jane. He's just kind of a jerk and nobody likes him. Richard Topham's the character who lives next door, as I said. I kind of like him. I think he's the most interesting or memorable character in the game. He is a huge jerk and very self-centered. He's supposed to be, and it is kind of funny in a sense, but oh man, he's mean. Emily is our victim, and I think she doesn't quite work because she's too much of a victim, if that makes sense. She's got nothing going on besides her just going, Nancy, I need you to help me. I don't know what's going on with the Lilac Inn. So the culprit's trying to force her into selling the inn through a mixture of sabotage and through a mixture of trying to make her think that she's crazy. And that's okay, but, Emily doesn't really do anything. She just hides on her bed all day long, and I guess she's friendly and helps a little bit, but not really. And yeah, and like I said, there's a banker. He's got a security vault, so he opens up 2 security vaults, and that's basically all he does in the game. Oh, and he gives you the sewing puzzle. That's another big problem with this game, is the puzzles. Last time I played through, those puzzles were terrible. Way too many puzzles, which are bad. The sewing puzzle is not a fun puzzle because Nancy screams at you the whole time. Mini golf is a puzzle, which is really, really difficult, and it's just no fun. I don't like it at all. It's so terrible. You can never get the points right. It's just, yeah, it's just a really long, frustrating puzzle. Another long, frustrating puzzle is figuring out the psychic cards for Richard Topham. That's a terrible puzzle because it's guessing. It's guessing. Unlike mini golf, you can kind of get good at mini golf, but with the card puzzle, no, you can't kind of get good. You just have to get lucky when you're doing the random guessing to make the combinations right. And there's just like too many to guess from. It's a terrible, terrible puzzle. The pie sorting puzzle I think is fine, but some people really hate it. I thought the ham radio puzzle is fine, but it's kind of long. Also, the same with that, like, listening to the record puzzle. Really long puzzle to listen to, huh? Also, the driving around town challenge. I like delivering telegrams, but there's a trading sequence in the town, which is really long, and I don't like it. You have to catch a fish for this guy. That way he'll give you the cards for the orphanage charity ball. The orphanage needs 5 toys, or 4 toys, I forget how many. And then the lady who runs the who runs the phones needs the cards or something, and then the cards are given to Miss Sheldon at Twin Elms. It's like you make a trade to make a trade to make a trade. It's like doing a chore for a chore, like 4 chores in a row. It's just not fun, which is sad because driving around town was actually kind of fun when you're delivering telegrams, but when it's just a stack of chores, it's not fun at all. Also, the endgame challenge where you have to chase after the culprit in a car. I thought that was fine, but the first time you play it, get ready for a lot of game overs. It's tough. Yeah. The culprit, I didn't even mention Josiah Crowley. So he's the old guy who used to live next door. He left a bunch of money to pretty much everyone. Nancy needs to solve a series of puzzles to find his will. That's the main premise of the story. And then, oh, I'm past my 5-minute time limit. Oh, okay. This is a 6-minute review for Nancy Drew's Secret of the Old Clock. I give this game like a 7 out of 10. I like the setting, but last time I played through, wow, the puzzles were bad, and just the disjointed, disconnected story didn't work for me either. So, 7 out of 10 for Secret of the Old Clock.